Hi everyone, Abby here, and welcome back to my channel for Tech Tuesday, or welcome if you're new. Now today I'm going to be reviewing the Apple Watch SE3 smartwatch. Now I've had this smartwatch for about 3 months now, and I'm going to give you guys my entire experience with it, talking about things that I enjoyed about the smartwatch, some cons, and more. But before I get started, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed, so you can stay tuned to all my new videos dropping weekly and so you can help the channel grow. Now I have this smartwatch in the color Starlight. So it has a Starlight colored case and a Starlight colored sports band. But it did come out in some other colors as well, which you could see on screen. And the current price as of recording is $329.99 Canadian and $249.99 American. And I have seen the smartwatch go on sale a few times since the release, so if you wait for one of those sale days, you can grab it for an even better price. And I think some of the upcoming sale days will be Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, Father's Day, Amazon Prime Day, and more. And now I'm going to go into the major spec highlights about this smartwatch so you can get an idea of what it can do. When it comes to the Apple Watch SE3 here, it has a battery life up to 18 hours on a single charge. It has built-in GPS and navigation. It has workout tracking, so you can track a variety of indoor and outdoor activities like running, walking, yoga, cycling, Pilates, dance, and more. It does track your daily metrics, being steps, calories burned, time standing, your active minutes. It also tracks your heart rate for you during your activities and at rest. This watch does track your sleep as well. You have the ability to connect to hundreds of different apps. It does have a built-in speaker and microphone, which you could use for calls. You could also use it to speak to your voice assistant, which is Siri. And this smartwatch has a water rating up to 5 ATM or 50 meters, so you can take it in the pool, in the rain, in the snow, and more. It also has weather forecast on here. It does have built-in Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, NFC, and you can do Apple Pay on here. And I've gone ahead and listed a bunch more spec highlights on screen for you guys. All right guys, so this is what a smartwatch looks like on me. Now I do have a 7-inch wrist here, and this smartwatch I am wearing right now comes in the medium large band version. I've gone ahead and put all the wrist sizes on screen for you guys just so you can see which one works best for you. Now I do find this smartwatch is pretty comfortable to wear. The band here does not really get very sweaty or uncomfortable feeling even when I'm working out, and I can sleep in it with no issues. Another thing I like about the smartwatch is that it's very lightweight. Something I don't like about the smartwatch is that it is very big. It takes up a lot of room on my wrist with this 40mm size, even being the smallest size Apple offers. Now when it comes to changing the band, it's very easy. You just press the button, you slide it out, and to put it back in, you just slide it back in. So I do like that the process is very simple and straightforward to change and swap out the bands. And if you're finding this video helpful so far, please go ahead and smash that like button for me. I'd really appreciate it. All right guys, when it comes to the display on the smartwatch, I think it looks really great. It's super contrasting, bright. You can see bold, punchy colors. With Apple's new liquid glass, it does look pretty cool, especially with watch faces like this. You do kind of get that 3D liquid effect going on. I do think that it is easy to read and contrasting in most lighting situations. You guys can see right now, you can see a bit of glare from the light shining down on it. So depending on the angle, it can be easier or harder to read. And if you wear this outside, you guys can see right now it's an overcast day, but even today you can see there's a bit of glare on the display. It does get a little bit hard to read outside when you're in really bright sunlight. So in those situations, you're definitely gonna need to pump up your brightness a lot higher to read it well. But once you do have your brightness high enough, I do find it is pretty readable indoors and outdoors. I do like the customizability for the display here because you can customize the brightness. And you just have 3 options to choose from here. You can choose to do high to low, can change the text size, you can make it smaller, you can make it large. So if you're someone who don't have the best eyesight, that could be super helpful for you. You can also bold the font here. You can turn on the optional always on display. So instead of the display timing out, it's gonna stay on for you. And you could change the timeout intervals. So if you want it to kind of time out on you faster or slower, that's an option you have as well. And it does have a curved display, as you guys can see. All right guys, when it comes to activity tracking on the smartwatch, it can track a huge amount of activities for you. But before I get into that, I just want to show you guys a simple workout. So I did a quick indoor cycling. You can see your active calories, your total calories. You can see your average heart rate, the heart rate range, You can see the effort from the workout. You can also see, the duration of the workout, when it started, when it ended. And that's all you really see on the smartwatch. So it's kind of limited here in what you see data-wise. If you do want to see more, you do have to jump into this smartphone to see more metrics. This smartwatch can connect to a lot of workout equipment in the gym or at home. For example, this connects to my Peloton bike seamlessly, so you can get all of your data kind of directly on your watch and see your heart rate on the screen, which is really nice. Another thing I wanted to mention is you can alter your workout view. So this is kind of what you see while you're working out. So I thought that was pretty cool that you can customize it. You can see heart rate zones, you can include or not include different pages to see. And just to show you guys a couple of metrics, that I have here, you can go ahead and add more. And these are just some of the examples of, metrics that you can add in here. So the Apple Watch here does track a lot of different activities. So those ones are kind of the ones I've used so far, like my most used. And the ones here, you can basically choose any of them and add them to like a shortcut menu. So if it's something that you do more often, we can add them there so you don't have to kind of search every time. But it is nice to see that you can track just a lot of different activities here. Now, I can't really think of anything they're missing myself, but if you guys can, definitely drop that in the comments below. And that is all of the activities that you can track here. When I go out and do steps with this, if I do a simple test, I do 100 steps, I count them out. Usually the smartwatch is at 99 or 100. So it's pretty good there, I think. And if we're talking about some other metrics, you can see your heart rate data. And the thing with the Apple Watch is it doesn't track your heart rate every second. It tracks every few minutes or so. It kind of has like a smart heart rate tracking. So that's something I did want to mention in case that could be a deal breaker for you. And when you are working out, it does track it every minute. So that is something where you'll get more detailed heart rate data. So when it comes to the battery life on this smartwatch, it has a quoted battery life up to 18 hours. Now, it can go up to 32 hours of battery life if you have it on low power mode. Now, with my uses, doing things like GPS walks, runs, using daily alarms, timers, checking my smartphone notifications, and more, I've gotten on average 15 hours of battery life with this watch. So for me, that is just poor. There's no way around it. It's not great. I gotta charge this thing every day, sometimes even twice a day, especially if you're going outside doing an activity with GPS and it's sunny and you need to pump up the brightness. Yeah, your battery life is cooked. Whether or not this battery life is an issue for you definitely depends on you and your needs. I think that if you're used to charging your smartwatch every day, this might not be a big deal for you. But if you're someone who you want longer battery life, then this is not the watch for you. Now, those are my battery life results here, but you might get something higher or lower depending on your individual usage. It tracks your sleep without you having to connect it to your phone, which is something not every smartwatch out there can do. This is my sleep information. You can see that it does say a sleep score, 59. It says sleep was okay. And then you get more information. Now you can see here, there is a little graph of my sleep stages throughout the night. It considers your time awake, your REM sleep, your deep sleep, and your light sleep. Apple calls this core sleep here, but you can see a little graph of everything here and then the actual time durations. And then you can see a little graph here as well for the actual time asleep. In my opinion, the sleep tracking here is not the best. It's not the most accurate. I definitely find that the sleep stages here are off. Time awake, 2 minutes. I was awake a lot longer than that last night, especially because you could see from the 5 hour sleep, not the best sleep. So 2 minutes of time awake does not make sense. So I would take this sleep data here with a grain of salt. It is not the most accurate here when it comes to sleep data. But being an Apple Watch, you do have the option to download other apps. So I imagine there could be some better sleep apps available out there that might work better than the integrated Apple one here. But this is just the one I'm reviewing because I'm just going off the stuff that came with the smartwatch here. Some of you might find it helpful just to see a little sleep score and an overall message of how you slept, but the sleep stages are definitely off in my opinion. All right, guys, now I'm gonna talk about women's health. So for my men out there, or anyone else who doesn't wanna see this, you can go ahead and use my timestamps in the description below to jump to the next section where I'm going to be talking about how to use this watch. So you can log your women's health symptoms on this watch, and basically it's like your menstrual cycle tracking information. You can go ahead and if you're on your period, you can log any type of flow intensity. You can log any symptoms that you're feeling every day. And they do have a good amount of symptoms, which is actually really nice to see. In alphabetical order as well, which is making it easy to navigate. You can add if you got any spotting or not as well. And on the app, you do see a bigger view of, all this information, and you also see a period prediction, which in my experience, it has worked pretty well. It's usually spot on for my period prediction day, so that could be a helpful metric for you as well. Overall, I do wish that they had a bit more information into the Women's Health app and that they would have added some color. I mean, why is everything gray and black and white? I don't know, but if you're just looking to track your basic flow intensity, daily symptoms, stuff like that, it could be helpful for you. All right, guys, so now I'm going to talk about how to use this watch, just the basics here. So the first thing you're going to want to do is to light up that display so you can use the smartwatch. Now you can do that in a variety of ways. You can press either of the buttons here. You can go ahead and tap the display when it's off, or if you have it on your wrist, you can turn it towards your face and the screen will light up. Now, once the smartwatch is on, you can swipe down to see any notifications that you have. If you swipe up, you will see things here, like you can see the weather and any other little things that you put in there. You can adjust this screen as well and kind of add things and change it up the way you'd like. If you go ahead and press the top button here, you open up your apps, which you can scroll through and start using. Over 100 apps you can put on here. A lot of the apps you can put on your phone can also go on here. If you hold this button here, you open up Voice Assistant. Set a timer for 10 minutes, and it will do that for you. If you go ahead and press this button down here, you open up this little kind of shortcut menu where you can change font size, you can put on Do Not Disturb mode, turn off the volume, a bunch of things here, and you can edit this. If you hold this button here, it opens up your medical ID information, like, emergency contacts, if you have an allergy, if you have diabetes, whatever, you can add that here, and you can have an emergency call here as well. It even has fall detection, so if you fall, it can call an emergency contact for you. Now this button here does go back. Now if you do want to start an activity, you're going to have to either ask Siri to start an activity for you, or go to your little workout app and start a workout. Just click it and then start it. Now, if you want to view any of your other apps, you gotta go into there and you got to search for it. Now, once again, if you don't want to search, you could just hold the button and ask Siri to do it. You can also say, "Hey Siri," if you have that turned on. And if you want to, you can turn it into a list view just to look through your apps here. That does make it a bit easier to find things, in my opinion. And if you want to change your watch face, you just hold down on the watch face here and you could swipe through. Now, that is the basics of how to use this smartwatch here. I'd say it's pretty straightforward to use, especially if you are an iPhone user and you use a lot of Apple products. However, if you're coming from like Android, there's definitely a bit of a learning curve. So overall, I think it's pretty straightforward to use. So if this is someone's first smartwatch, I think that they could kind of get the hang of it pretty easily. You're going to get a very similar experience to your iPhone as you are on the Apple Watch, just in a smaller form factor here. All right, guys, so now I'm going to show you some watch faces on the Apple Watch Series 11 here. So I'm going to show you guys the ones I have installed on here. You can get a bunch of analog or digital watch faces depending on your preferences there. And one thing I really like about Apple is they have some really nice looking watch faces. And you can use your own photos to create your own watch faces. Like this one, for example, you can have a picture of you there, or your cat, or dog, or whatever you want to have there. So it's nice that you can create your own photo watch faces as well. There's a lot of nice looking watch faces, but they don't really show you that much data, metrics, things like that. Even they're data rich, like you don't really see that much data at a glance. All right, guys, so I have noticed some cons about this watch here. So the first con for me is the battery life. I already kind of mentioned the battery life not being the best, but it's just really bad. I have to charge this thing every single day and often twice a day. I just find that very inconvenient to myself. I really think that battery life is Apple's weakest point and something that does need to be improved. Another con for me is that it is time consuming to see all of your data. I don't know why they can't just make it streamlined, like I can just swipe and see everything. Nope, I can't do that. What I have to do is I have to go into the apps and I have to go into whatever I want to see. So if I want to see my heart rate data, I gotta go in there. Or if I want to see my sleep data, I gotta go in here. Or if I want to see my activities, I have to go and check out my activities. So there's just a lot of searching and finding things, and I find it annoying. I just wish that they had, you know, a different interface there where I can just swipe and see things quickly like I can on some of my other branded smartwatches. Another con for me is, this is big. It's a 40mm display or size, but they measure it diagonally, especially because it's rectangular, it's long, and I just wish that they would make something smaller. Another con for me is that there's touch control issues, like sensitivity. A lot of the time if I'm trying to like exit something or click up here, like it doesn't register my touches. It takes a couple of attempts for me to like get into the pages or to like go back clicking the little arrows. So you guys probably saw it throughout this video because it happens a lot when I use the smartwatch, but for whatever reason, when I try to click things in the corners, they just don't register my swipes very well. And it's really annoying because they honestly, a lot of the time, have little things in the corners here that you do need to click. And the last con for me would be the color options. Now, Apple is Apple and they do things their own way. They don't really have conventional color options. I remember when I was unboxing this smartwatch here and I saw this, just like beautiful. I mean, look at this pink too, so pretty. Like there's just so many different bands and colors here, but then I get this, which I'm not saying this is bad, but it's just like basic. So, you know, we have this color here, which they call sandstone, which is to me kind of this like champagne color. It's like light gold mixed with silver. Color options are both very unisex, which I think could be really great for some people, but for me, I like very feminine colors when it comes to my watches whenever possible. So I would have loved to see some really like pretty colors. And if you do want to get different colored pretty bands, you do have to buy them separately, or you have to buy it directly from Apple and just kind of customize your band that you choose when you're ordering. All right guys, so if you are considering getting the Apple Watch Series 11 instead of the Apple Watch SE3 here, you're probably gonna wonder, should you get it? And the answer is maybe, depending on what you need out of your smartwatch. Now, the major differences that the Apple Watch Series 11 has over the SE3 is it comes in larger size options. So you're looking at a 42mm or a 46mm option compared to the 40mm and 44mm on the Apple Watch SE3. We have the 44mm on the Series 11. We have the 40mm on the SE3. The Apple Watch Series 11 also gets brighter, 1000 nits brighter, which I mostly just find noticeable when you're outdoors in the sun. Indoors, I don't really see much of a difference. The Apple Watch Series 11 also tracks your ECG, which is your heart rate rhythm. And you can get your SpO2, your blood oxygen. You can see there's a lot more metal going on the Series 11. So like it has a full metal casing. It also tracks water gauge. It has a water temperature sensor. It has a more precise Find My iPhone. It also charges a bit faster. So within 30 minutes, you can get from 0 to 80% on the Series 11, where on the SE3, it takes 45 minutes to get to that same battery charge. The Series 11 also has a faster refresh rate, and those are really the main differences between them. So if any of those seem like they could be deal breakers for you, you might want to consider the Apple Watch Series 11, and I've done a full review on that one, which you can find coming up at the top right, also linked in the description below for you to check out when you're done watching this. All right guys, considering the price, the quality, the color, the performance, the battery life, the comfort, the ease of use, and everything like that, I'd go ahead and give the Apple Watch SE3 40mm here an 8.3 out of 10. I definitely do give it a thumbs up. Now, if you're looking to pick up the new Apple Watch SE3 here, I've gone ahead and left a link down in the description for you to use. And if there's anything I missed today that you want to know, go ahead and drop a comment below. I do read all the comments and I will definitely get back to you. And that's all I have for today. Thanks for watching, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.